Hello, and welcome to Capsule Cooking. Capsule cooking is an alternative to meal prep which focuses on saving you time while allowing you to eat a different home-cooked meal every day. Meals are broken down into 4 different capsules, which are batch cooked and then assembled at mealtime. The 4 capsules are bases, proteins, nutrients, and flavors. Simplifying your daily meals into these categories allows you to focus on time-effective ways to cook, prep, and store each ingredient, leaving you with a fridge and freezer full of options. When it comes time to eat, all you need to do is pick 1 or 2 items from each capsule depending on your mood, and you have a complete meal ready to go in minutes. Today, I will be going through a recipe for flour tortillas. This method can be used for any size of tortilla, with the biggest size being limited by the size of pan you have available. The tortillas can be made in large batches and frozen either raw or cooked to allow for homemade tortillas whenever you would like. Tortillas are one of my favorite ingredients for the basis capsule. They are easy to use with a variety of proteins and flavors and can be modified for breakfast, lunch, or dinner without much effort. The ingredients for this recipe are minimal. You will need all-purpose flour, baking powder, salt, hot water, and a fat of your choosing. Today I will be using canola oil. Lard is more traditional and will go well here too. I recommend staying away from strongly flavored oils. First, measure out your dry ingredients. Combine the flour, baking powder, and salt into a medium-sized bowl. Mix the ingredients together to evenly distribute using a fork or a whisk. Make a small depression in the middle of the dry ingredients and add your oil and hot water. Mix the ingredients using a dough whisk or a wooden spoon. Mix until the dough starts coming together and you no longer see large pockets of dry mix. Let it cool for a few minutes and knead the dough in the bowl until it is smooth. It will be done when it can be formed into a smooth ball and does not stick to the sides of the bowl. Turn the dough onto a board and portion. Divide the dough into 16 portions for taco-sized tortillas or 8 portions for burrito-sized tortillas. Roll the portions into a ball and flatten into a disc. If you would like to ensure even sizing, you can use a scale to measure these out rather than portion them visually. Rest the dough for 30 minutes covered with a dry cloth. This step allows the gluten in the dough to rest and will prevent the dough from snapping back when rolling. Letting the dough rest longer is even better. For the final shaping, you will need a rolling pin. Create a small mound of flour and lightly coat both sides of your dough disc by patting it into the mound. Begin rolling out your dough, flipping each time to help the tortilla roll evenly. This also ensures that the tortilla is not sticking to the board. If the tortilla begins sticking, add some additional flour to each side. Roll the tortillas from the center to the edge, making sure to roll past the edge to prevent a rim from forming. Flip the tortillas over and turn 90 degrees and roll out again using the same method. Continue this until the tortillas are very thin. Ideally, you will be able to see the lines of a cutting board through the tortilla. Keeping them thin ensures a good chew. If the tortilla snaps back when rolling and prevents you from getting them thin enough, you will need to let the dough rest longer. After you get a bit of practice, you can likely roll out the tortillas while one is cooking. But when you start out, I recommend rolling out all of the tortillas first. Stack the tortillas with a piece of parchment paper between each one to prevent sticking. To cook the tortillas, heat up a dry pan on medium heat. Ideally, you would use a cast iron or carbon steel pan for this. Once the pan is hot, place the tortilla and cook for around 45 seconds on the first side. The tortilla is ready to flip when it is bubbling and you can see some light brown spots on the underside. Flip the tortilla to the other side and cook for another 30 seconds or so. The tortilla is done when the second side also has some light brown spots. It is not an issue if the tortillas take a bit longer to cook. Cook until each side is lightly brown like before and increase the heat for the next batch. Place the tortilla onto a plate on a clean kitchen cloth and cover. Continue cooking the tortillas until you are all done, placing each new one on top of the last. Cover the stack with a cloth while cooking. Covering them with a cloth like this will help keep them soft by allowing the steam to finish cooking the tortillas. If the pan starts smoking too much, use a wet paper towel to wash out the pan. Be careful since the pan will be hot. For storage, you have a few options. The easiest method is to keep them in a sealed bag at room temperature. They will last like this for a few days and will stay relatively pliable. To keep them for a bit longer, you can stick the bag into the fridge and they will last for about a week. For longer term storage, put them into a Ziploc bag with a sheet of parchment paper in between each tortilla and freeze. They should keep for several months. You can also flash freeze them on a sheet pan for about an hour and then put them into a Ziploc bag. If you want to do it in multiple rows, you can stack the tortillas in between cloths or sheets of parchment paper on the sheet pan. This will increase the likelihood of freezer burn. For all methods, you will want to heat the tortillas prior to use. This will limit the likelihood of them breaking or tearing when you're trying to work with them. To reheat the tortillas, the easiest method is to wrap them in a damp paper towel and microwave for 20 to 30 seconds. This will lightly steam the tortillas and is the quickest method. This is also the preferred method for reheating frozen tortillas. For the best flavor, reheating in a dry or oiled pan is the way to go. If you're looking for a crispier texture, use an oiled pan. For a softer tortilla, a dry pan is recommended. For both methods, cook the tortillas for around 30 seconds on each side with a pan on medium heat. Once the tortillas are reheated, set them aside wrapped in a clean cloth to keep warm while you prep the other ingredients for your meal. While tortillas may not be as versatile as some of the other items in the basis category, they are very quick to prepare and easy to turn into a meal. The 3 dishes I will cover using flour tortillas are pulled pork tacos, ground beef quesadillas, and chicken burritos. For the tacos, reheat the tortillas with your preferred method from before. I am looking for a softer texture on the tortilla and will use a dry pan. Using the same pan to limit dishes, add a bit of oil and crisp up your pulled pork. For nutrients, I will be using bell peppers and cabbage slaw. I want the peppers a bit softened and will be throwing them in to saute with the pork. Season with your flavors of choice. I am adding black pepper, chili powder, and garlic powder. Toss in the pan for around 30 more seconds to wake up the flavors and take off the heat. For the cabbage slaw, I am quickly tossing it with a bit of mayo and cilantro lime sauce. From here, you can begin assembling your tacos. Start with a warm tortilla, add your pork and peppers, and top with cabbage slaw. Finish the tacos with any additional flavors you would like. I am using Valentina hot sauce. For the quesadillas, warming the tortillas in the microwave works well since you will be crisping them up in a pan to finish the meal. You can heat them up in a pan to soften if you prefer, but you won't notice as much of a difference as you might with the other methods. Reheat the ground beef and mix in your preferred flavors. I am being efficient today and using the microwave and a store-bought barbecue sauce. Add some items from the nutrient category to balance out the protein. If you have pre-prepped raw vegetables, this is a good time to use them. I am using bell peppers and cabbage slaw. Mixing them in directly with the proteins is a good way to ensure even distribution. To assemble, add a bit of cheese to half the tortilla and top with the beef mixture. Sprinkle some additional cheese on top and fold over. It is easy to overfill these, and this is a less is more type of scenario. Heat up a pan on medium-low and add a bit of oil. You can heat up 2 quesadillas at a time in the pan. Lower temp is better here to ensure the cheese melts before the tortilla burns. Once the first side is crispy and the cheese is melted, flip to the other side. Make sure to flip the quesadillas over the seam side to prevent the filling from falling out. If you are doing 2 at a time, placing one on a plate while you flip the other helps make this easier. Crisp up the second side and place onto a cutting board. Let the quesadilla rest for a few minutes and cut into 4 slices. Serve with some additional flavors to bring it all together. I am using salsa and sour cream. The last meal I will cover today is a chicken burrito. For the tortillas, your best bet is to reheat using the microwave. We will finish the burrito by crisping it up in the pan and want it soft and pliable for filling. Saute your nutrients of choice in a pan to build some flavor. I am using red onion and bell pepper. Add some salt to help draw out the liquid and saute for a few minutes. Add some black pepper and any other dry spices you like. I am adding some chili powder and heating it up in the pan for 10 to 20 seconds. You can now add your chopped chicken and heat through stirring occasionally. Since the prepped chicken is already cooked, this should only take a minute or 2. If you are using a sauce for your flavor, add it now. For assembly, pull together your chicken and vegetables, warm tortillas, and any other flavors you would like to add. I am using salsa, shredded cheese, and refried beans. Start with your tortilla and spread any thicker ingredients like the refried beans. Add your protein and top with a bit of salsa and cheese. Be careful not to overfill, as it will make keeping everything together difficult. To roll, bring the bottom edge of the tortilla to the top and pull back to compress the fillings. Fold over each outside edge in and roll the rest of the way. Store the burritos seam side down while you are working on the next one. Next, you will want to seal the seam by toasting the burrito in a pan. Heat a pan on medium heat and add a bit of oil. Place the burrito seam side down onto the pan and let it crisp for around a minute. Flip the burrito and quickly toast the opposite side. Pull off the pan and slice in half to serve. Thank you for watching my video. Stop by next week for more methods and recipes. Feel free to leave any suggestions or ideas for more videos in the comments.